You are listening to the Happiest Lives podcast with Jill Lillard, episode 131.
Welcome to the Happiest Lives podcast, where you'll learn to think better, feel better, and become the woman God says you already are. Here's your host, Jill Lillard.
Hey there, friend. Welcome back. You're listening to the final episode of the Listening Life series, How to Hear God's Voice. Over the last few weeks, we've been circling around one big idea, that life is about centering ourselves in the presence of God. We talked about heart scan journaling, that 45-minute practice you can use to start your mornings by slowing down and listening. We looked at what it means to turn on the lights, to be honest before the Lord so He can renew us. And today, we're going to close the loop. What does it look like to actually walk it out? How do you carry this posture of listening into your day, into your relationships, and even into those long seasons of waiting where answers feel far away? Here's what I want you to hear up front. This isn't just about a quiet time routine. It's a way of life. In all my coaching, whether I'm working one-on-one or with a group, I use the heart scan process. The journaling practice I've been teaching you is really just that process written into your mornings. It gives you a way to pause, to check in with what's happening inside, but not in your own strength, always with the Holy Spirit right there with you. That's what a listening life really is. It's slowing down long enough for God to meet you, to transform you, and to show you how to live. Now, you've heard me talk about the 4 parts of the heart scan: expose, renew, engage, and press on. In the mornings, journaling helps us expose what's really going on and renew our minds with His Word. But the real test, it shows up once the day begins. Engage means we let our emotions become invitations. Instead of stuffing them down or trying to fix them ourselves, we turn toward the Lord. Press on means we take faithful action, even when our emotions aren't lining up. That's how listening shifts from something you do in the quiet morning to something you live in the messy middle of the day. I think about a couple I've worked with for a while. Right now, they're in a sweet season. They've moved into a new home. They're hopeful again in their marriage. But all around them, friends and family are walking through dark and painful things. And because they're caring, compassionate people, they felt like it was on them to step in. But the ones they were worried about kept making destructive choices with consequences, choices they couldn't control. And no matter what they did, nothing changed. Eventually, they were exhausted, frustrated, maybe even moving toward resentment. They were pouring all this time and energy into problems they couldn't fix, while their own daughter and their new home were being neglected. That's what worry does. It spins us in circles. It drains us, but doesn't bear fruit. And it distracts us from the good work right in front of us. I reminded them, those other people get to paint their own canvas. They get to make their choices and live with the results. Your job isn't to carry all their burdens. Your job is to stay prayerful and pay attention to what God is actually asking of you. That's the difference between action fueled by worry and action fueled by obedience. Worry keeps us busy, but obedience keeps us aligned. So what do? You let the concern, the ache in your chest, move you to prayer. You might come together as a couple and even as a family and thank the Lord for what He's doing in your own life. Then you intercede for the people around you. You lay them at His feet. You ask Him to intervene in ways you cannot. And then you make yourself available. Lord, show us, when should we speak? When should we be silent? When should we step in? When should we step back? We want to be your hands and feet, but we don't want to grab hold of something you haven't called us to, and in the process, neglect what you have called us to. And in the meantime, unpack your bags, be present with each other, pour into your daughter. That's what walking it out looks like, discerning what's yours to carry and what you need to release. All right, quick break. The Happiest Lives Academy is open and we start January 1. It's an intimate 5-month experience, 5 transformations, real growth, and about 10 women who are ready to actually do this work in a deep, steady way. If you know you want to be one of them, head to myhappyvault.com/academy and save your spot. Okay, back to the episode. the truth. Listening without obeying isn't really listening. James says that faith without works is dead. And Hebrews 11 is full of people who didn't just hear God's voice, they acted on it. Noah built an ark when it had never rained like that before. Abraham left his country without knowing where he was headed. Moses went to Pharaoh with nothing but God's word. Rahab welcomed the spies before Jericho had even started to crumble. Every single one of them stepped out without seeing the outcome. That's what faith is, believing God when you can't yet see the evidence, trusting his voice when all you have is his promise. And that's what a listening life is, hearing him, trusting him, and walking in obedience even when it doesn't make sense. And the more we do that, the more our faith grows and the more clearly we recognize his voice. But here's the other side. Listening doesn't always lead to action right away. Sometimes it calls us into waiting. That same couple I told you about also carried another ache. They've long wanted another child. They love the one they have, but the longing hasn't gone away. It holds both grief and hope. And that's the tension of waiting, isn't it? We want clarity. We want timelines. And when we don't get them, it feels like nothing is happening. But the Hebrew word for wait, kava, actually means to bind together. Waiting isn't wasted. It's a season where God is weaving our hearts with his, preparing us for what's next. It's like dough rising on the counter. On the surface, it looks still, but underneath, something vital is happening. Rush it and you ruin the bread. Let it rise and you get something desirable and good. But waiting always raises the question, what do we do with our desires in the meantime? Do we push them aside and try not to think about them? Do we move forward with our own plans, like in vitro in their case, and risk rushing the process? I don't have the answers for that, but the Lord does. Here's what I do know. Waiting doesn't mean shutting down your heart. It's not pretending you don't want what you want. It's not locking the ache in a closet, hoping distractions will keep it quiet. But it's also not letting the desire take center stage and consume everything. It's not forcing or demanding. I must have this or else. Wanting is bringing those desires honestly to the Lord, saying, here it is, Lord. You see it. You know it. I'm not going to hide it, but I'm also not going to let it run me. I'm laying it down at your feet. And that's what keeps you alive inside. Because if you disconnect from your desires, you wither. And if you obsess over them, you lose your peace. But when you bring them into God's presence, they become a portal, an invitation to meet him right there in the tension. That's engaging. That's pressing on. It's staying fully alive, fully present with the Lord, and trusting him to give direction. And in the process, he binds your heart to his. Do you see the balance? Not shutting down, not demanding, but leaning in, letting your longing rise to the surface in his presence, letting him use it to deepen the connection, and learning a kind of surrender that isn't lifeless giving up, but life-giving laying down. That's opening yourself up to hope, the hope that the Lord is good, that he is faithful, and that he knows exactly what you need. So what does all this look like in everyday life? It's actually really simple. Pausing throughout your day, letting emotions become invitations, praying when you don't know what else to do, and taking the next small steps of obedience. It's not about getting it all perfect. It's about staying present. It's about engaging in a relationship. Galatians 5:25 says, since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. That's the listening life, not just in your journal, not just in the morning, but in every moment. So as we close this series, here's my invitation to you. Don't stop at hearing. Move into living. Obey what God has already shown you. Let him meet you in the waiting. Let him bind your heart to his. And remember, this really is the happiest life, not because it's pain-free, because it's filled with his presence. So often we're pursuing something, we're pursuing an outcome of the fulfillment of a desire. And really, we think that's what's going to make us happy. We think that's what life is about, is reaching this destination. But real joy comes in that relationship with the Lord. It comes in the in-between. It comes in the hoping, the desiring, the pursuing, the wanting, and not yet having. It happens in the already, but not yet. If you'd like to go deeper in this work, I'd love to walk with you. You can reach out to me directly at jill@thehappiestlives.com or visit thehappiestlives.com. I work with couples and I work with individuals, but what I really love working with is groups of women. My coaching groups are cost-effective and powerful because you don't have to do this work in isolation. Yes, you have a lot of resources available to you, and so it is a self-directed process that you can do at your own pace, but there are opportunities to connect with other women and to connect with me, and I offer coaching to you as a group, which can be very powerful. Inside, I'm going to teach you how to use the heart scan process, expose, renew, engage, and press on. And you'll also learn how to apply the CTFAR, CTFAR model so you can grow in confidence using these tools every day. So as we wrap up this series, just a little note. Next month, we will be taking a break. I want to encourage you to use that time to be with your friends and family, those that you love. And in the middle of the Christmas busyness, carve out some quiet spaces to be with the Lord. Remember how Jesus often slipped away from the crowd to be with the Father? Follow his lead in that. I may pop in with a bonus episode. That's still to be determined, but if not, I'll definitely meet you here back at the beginning of the new year as we kick off strong with a brand new series. Hey, before we wrap up, I want to remind you that the Happiest Lives Academy is open and we start January 1. If you're ready to take your thoughts captive, ready to renew your mind instead of letting everything simmer on the back burner, this is your moment. This is the you, your younger self, always imagined you grow into. And if you want to start January with an actual plan, not just a hope or good intention, but real structure to follow, this is it. No more vague, I'll get to it someday. We're doing it for real. No more circling the same issues. No more disconnecting from yourself or the people you love. It's time to connect to your heart, to the Lord, into a whole new way of showing up. Inside the Academy, you get daily access to me, weekly coaching, a community of women who are in this with you, and a clear plan that gives you traction, not pressure. You don't have to figure any of this out alone. I'm walking with you every step of the way. This is the time. You're worth it, and it's worth the investment. Join us at myhappyvault.com/academy.